Hi guys, we are the Wamboyes. My name is Ernest Wamboye.
And I'm Turi Wamboye.
And we've been married for the past 7 years. And we've got 2 children. Our firstborn is called Tandiwe. Tandiwe is 3 years old. And then here on set, we are with Ivana. Ivana is 8 months old. And I am a minister of the gospel. I'm an author. And I run a pornography addiction recovery program for men called Powerhouse, which is under our ministry called the Relationship Center. We're really passionate about helping young people marry well and set godly foundations for their future marriages.
And I am a HR practitioner, but as Ernest mentioned, our hearts are sold out to young people and young couples. And so when I'm not working in Nova with the wonderful children and learners in Kenya, in our Kenyan schools, I'm working with Ernest in terms of just building the ministry.
We met after high school. We met at the Alliance Française. We both took French in high school, and so after French we went to just polish up our language at the Alliance Française. We were introduced by mutual friends, but then we really got to know one another when we joined university. I was pursuing journalism, Turi was pursuing psychology, and it was at USIE when we really first met. Maybe you want to share how we got to start dating?
So Ernest and I began as very good friends. We shared common faith, so we are both born again. And I remember when we met at the university auditorium during orientation, that was the first thing that we just connected on our faith. And we were friends for about a year, and then Ernest asked me out on the 5th of May. I believe it was 2009. Yeah, 2009. Yeah, 2009, Ernest asked me out. So our relationship kicked off and we were barely 19 years, turning at 20. Yeah, and that's when our relationship kicked off.
Yeah, after that we dated for 2 years, 8 months. Then after that, got married.
Yeah. For September 2012.
Yes. Well, so the first time I met Turi, I was not even interested in her like a girlfriend. I just thought she's a really nice lady. She used to dress really well. That's not the first thing that stood out about her. Turi dressed very, very modestly, and that stood out. I think when I looked around at the girls around me, not that they were dressed badly, but Turi was exceptionally modest, which I really liked about her. And when we got into university, one thing that really drew me to Turi is that she was very forthright and very truthful. Turi would not stand deception. She would not see you making a wrong move and be quiet about it. So I liked that she did not beat around the bush. What she said was on her mind, and it was the truth, So that's one impression that I think really stood out on Turi. And also I liked the fact that she was really hungry to get to know God deeper. She had this hunger and thirst to just be spiritually mature and to get to know God. So that was really something very attractive to me. And then apart from that, much later, as we got to know her, of course, she's a very beautiful woman. I like to say, if beauty was measured in bricks, my wife would be the Great Wall of China. So she's very attractive to me, and I consider that as something that also drew me to her.
Yeah, so for me, when I met Ernest, my cousin actually introduced me to Ernest, and as he mentioned, I was seeing somebody else at the time. So obviously my eyes were set on somebody else, which ended after some time. So I wouldn't really say we started off with sparks in the air. We started off as just really good friends, and I think that foundation really helped us bond and connect a lot more, because nobody really had to pretend. We were just who we were. Yeah,
that's true. First date, we were in campus, so most of our dates were inside school at the cafeteria. So I'm trying to remember. Oh yes. Did you go for a date after that? It's really hard to remember, but I remember I asked her out when we were still taking our driving school classes. So after that, we just talked a bit after that. We didn't even have tea or coffee or anything. Went home, but I think the first dates were just in school, in the cafeteria. We'd meet, have lunch as 2 of us. We'd go for walks in the field. but I don't think I really remember like the very first date. I think we're students who were broke. So nothing memorable per se. Yeah, but it was just the rigmarole of coffee at the cafeteria, lunch in school. Yeah.
I think a few Java dates when we saved enough money.
Yes.
Yeah, because also there are very few restaurants at the time.
By the way, that's
Yeah,
true.
today
There's so many. There's
restaurants.
such
So that's
much
Java.
variety. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Audition was intense.
Yeah.
We had some really good times, memories, but we also had some really horrible, tough times. There was a time we almost broke up.
Yeah.
I remember 2011, right?
Yeah.
The same year that I proposed.
Yeah.
We were going through a really tough time, especially on my, and I'll speak about myself. I struggled with an addiction to pornography for quite a long time in campus. And when I got addicted, when I joined campus, it wasn't a struggle, but with my movies and entertainment, I got drawn into that kind of bad habit, and it was really affecting our relationship, because first of all, it was affecting how I relate with other girls. Turi would notice that my boundaries with other girls had been lowered, my guard was not up, and Turi was concerned, Ernest, your boundaries are not clear with these girls, and I'd be like, but there's nothing we're doing, so like I'm cheating. I mean, we're just friends. And it also affected us because as born again believers, one of the things that we honored is what the scripture says in 1 Thessalonians 4:3, to wait until marriage, to live a life of purity. And those becoming very difficult on my end because of that struggle. So I was afraid to tell her, because I thought if I tell her, she'd leave me. And because of that, the period that I struggled was really rocky in the relationship. We fought a lot, and all because I just couldn't come and tell her, hey, this is why we are fighting, this is the struggle. So in 2011, Turi had traveled to Boston for a school trip. And it was during that time that I just talked to one of my mentors, and she just told me, hey, just speak up, be honest, make your amends right. And I had to bite the bullet, and I made it up to Turi, and we sorted things out.
We got to realize and know our love languages by Gary Chapman. These are words of affirmation, touch, physical touch, quality time, acts of service, and gifts. And we got to understand how we express these love languages and how we receive them. So our relationship also had a lot of self-awareness and growth for both of us, which many times is not pleasant.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you get to discover yourself and realize your weaknesses or areas of development is not the best from especially someone that you love, but it really helped us be totally transparent and honest and authentic. And I think that really set such a right foundation for us to get married as soon as after campus, because we had really honestly been through so much together and seen each other in such different colors that we knew that we could start a life together and still come through together, like not killing each other, but more or less stronger together.
Yeah.
Oh wow, the proposal was really romantic. It's what I really wanted. I wanted to get proposed to on a beach. And as fate would have it, we had our church camp that I was organizing at Kanamai Beach Resort and Camp. And that was the time Ernest came and proposed. So we were on the beach, and he had this wonderful card, and he asked me to read it, and inside the card was the ring. So as I was reading the words and I looked at the ring, I just looked and Ernest was on his knees. So it was so beautiful. It was a really unexpected proposal, and I just had to say yes.
And very tense as well, because when she saw the card, she was like, no,
it can't be happening.
She was excited. No,
because the card written, will you marry me?
I thought she was saying no to me.
Yeah,
like,
so it
no,
was
like,
so
no.
funny.
I'm like, no, you don't have to say now. Like, no pressure. We don't have to do this now. Yeah. So she's like, no. I'm like, I mean, yes. So she said yes, and we did plan to get married. We got married really young, by the way. We got married when we were 23 rather. I turned 23 2 weeks after our wedding. So Everyone kept looking at us saying, "Why you guys are young? You know, see, mumalize masters, PhD, and all that. You know, those kind of things people say." But we were ready. We definitely were ready, and we had prepared for this moment. Yeah. I think some of the things we'd say is that one, thrive in your singlehood. The years of being single are really important. You get to discover who you are. You get to strengthen your convictions so that when you're stepping out, you really know what you're looking for. It's important to have that self-discovery. We often ask young people, would you marry you? And if you wouldn't marry you, then you've got some work to do on yourself. And the best time to work on yourself is when you're single. You know, you don't have to fall into the pressure of everyone is in a relationship. I have to be in a relationship. So thrive in your singlehood. Use your singlehood to grow yourself, to get to know your gifts, your abilities, your likes, your dislikes, and get to know what skills you need to improve on, grow your career. And when you come into a relationship with someone else, you are heading for the long haul. I think the other thing that I would say is don't waste time in relationships that don't head to the altar. Relationships that are just for fun. We say if you date for fun, you could break up for fun, it wouldn't be funny. Your relationship must be meaningful. Purposeless relationships that are just there to just pass time, or because you're bored, or because it's a what do you call it? Those relationships that you bounce back after a breakup.
Or rebound
relationships, not healthy at all, you know. And it's okay to be single for a season so that you're ready for the next season of marriage. Anything else, love?
No, I think you've covered most of that, and I think maybe I would just have people realize and ask if they could surround themselves with older people who they can actually reach out for mentorship and guidance. I would reach out to them in that regard, because a lot of us don't have people who are older to speak into our lives. So they lack a lot of wisdom that would potentially be such jewels and gems that could help in direction and focus. Because sometimes you just want to know that it's okay. It's okay to get hurt. It's okay to find people who are just not the right fit, but not to also back down on your values and your non-negotiables, because maybe you'd realize everyone is getting into a relationship, everyone is changing their status on social media, and I'm the only one left behind, and you can actually fall into that pressure trap. But having the people who can give you counsel and have you just remind you why you're on the path that you're on, I think I would really commend everybody to have mentors, because those mentors, as Ernest mentioned, helped him in that particular situation and really helped me in various issues that I needed at that time.
I think something else I would add would be by the time you choose to settle down with someone, make sure you've known them through and through. Don't date someone to get to know them. Know them, then date them. Because many people say, let me date them and get to know them. And then you waste so much time and you realize you're not ready to settle with that. I think it's important to know someone, then proceed to have an exclusive relationship with them. The planning to the wedding was crazy because it wasn't smooth. We were young, we had little money saved, but we didn't want an extravagant wedding. We said we'll just have a wedding within our means. And we had a beautiful wedding on the 1st of September. Right now our families are so close, they're really intimate, but the wedding was beautiful. I remember the 1st of September as if it was just yesterday. It was really, really beautiful. We had lots of people come. We were overwhelmed. I think most of our friends came just to confirm, are these guys really getting married or is it a joke, you know? So the planning had its ups and downs, but the D-Day almost seemed to take away all that frustration and make us feel as if it didn't really matter, you know, that or it was worth it going through all that. It paid off.
Oh wow, I know most girls, like it's the epitome and highlight. Wow, it was, I could honestly say it was the most beautiful day I can think of. I think of my life. Why? One, I was getting married to my best friend. Two, God was there. There was so much joy. We had such turbulent times with our families. I think seeing them celebrate and laugh for the first time was so relieving. I think the mere fact that Ernest and I were so humbled and honored that we actually made it to the altar and abstained to the end.
Yes.
It was hard. So I want to encourage people, it was really hard, but it was possible.
Yes.
So we also were looking forward, to just spending the time enjoying just the beautiful gift of marriage and the intimacy that comes with that. But it was a beautiful day. I had a huge lineup. We were like 10 maids, 10 groomsmen. But we had lots of dancing and lots of fun and celebration. It was a wonderful time, and I'm just grateful for just honoring our parents and just doing it right.
My first year of marriage was great. I loved it. I loved my first year. I was ambivalent because most of the stories I had from friends was, the first year is horrible. You get shocked, asking yourself, who is this person? But it was quite the opposite for me, for us rather, but I'll speak for myself. It was quite the opposite. We really had a relieving time, especially because we had a really tumultuous time heading to the wedding day. So the first 1 year was really amazing, loved it, got to just relax. I think it was the most relaxing, restful time of my life. I just relaxed. I added weight, on the wedding day, I was 63 kgs. 1 year after our marriage, I was 73 kgs,
I wouldn't add anything much. I think for me, it was just the comfort that, wow, I can actually manage a home with a husband and I have now in-laws. I came straight from my parents' house. So I did stay off campus, but it's very different when now you're a missus and you have to run your home and everything. So I think for me, it was the comfort that, wow, I can actually do this. And secondly, I think building a marriage and building a new culture in our home as the Wamboyes was beautiful for me. So there were good things that we brought from our different homes, and then we also had our faith and our values. So that really made our marriage really exciting. Of course, there were moments that we had different conflicts, and
definitely,
and
naturally.
we had to overcome them.
Yes.
I think the biggest piece around that we always talk about was the money piece,
Yes.
because we put our money together and we just believe in just transparency and openness, and we had just different ways in how we viewed money. So Ernest views money as security, I view money as freedom. So you can imagine the clash. So if you have a certain amount of money, Ernest would more or less look around securing this money in the right decisions. For me, I'd see it as extra money to spend. So those were just some of the nuances that we had to deal with, but we are so grateful we just managed to deal with them together and come out of it as friends.
Yeah. Right, so 7 years in marriage. It's actually going to be 7 on the 1st of September this year. So it's 6 plus 6 and a few months going to 7. It's been amazing. We thank God for children. It's not automatic. We've got 2 girls. This is our youngest, Ivana, the younger one rather. Tandewi is asleep, so she can't be on set right now. Children are amazing. Children really transformed me personally. I just learned to be very grateful to my parents after having children. I was really grateful. I really got to see how much work it takes to be a father. It was amazing. One of my highlights is traveling with my daughter. Last year we just left the country, left mom when she was pregnant, and just had a whole week with my daughter in California when we were going to see my sister. So the children have been a real blessing, a real highlight, a humbling reminder that God is good. Children are a gift from God, the scripture says. They're not a right. So even if you don't have children, it does not mean that your family is not complete. It is very complete. I strongly feel that you need to keep dating even after you're married. That way you remain strong, strengthen the bonds. So Turi and I have been really key on that, to still go on dates, to still express our love languages to one another from Dr. Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages, to keep reading. We read so many books. We're in groups, fellowships, reading clubs where we just want to improve ourselves. I think one thing that I'm learning is that I think a lifetime is too short to really discover one person. That's when you say till death do you part, at times you may think, oh my goodness, it's so long, I'll get bored with this person. But people keep changing, people keep learning. A person is so complex. So you realize that even if you had the next 200 years, you really wouldn't have enough of them. So we're just taking it a day at a time, and should I say, extracting the best out of each other, and at the same time giving the best to one another. Yeah.
You realize now when you're parents, there are very many worldviews that you have on raising children, that you also now have to agree on. And also we've grown with our families, and we've seen different things together in our marriages. We've witnessed a lot of grieving together. So it's been a wonderful time where our friendship has been enriched, and I think keeping the fire burning through with regular dates really helps us connect and grow stronger together.
Marriage does work if you set yourself on the right foundations and you're intent on making it work. I think we live in a world where there's so much discouragement concerning the institution, but there is a lot of hope if you do things the right way. And by saying the right way, do things God's way. It works if you do things God's way. Secondly, I think you've heard this several times, a bit cliche. They say marriage is what you make it, which is really, really true. It's cliche, but it's true, that it's like a canvas you've been given and you have the paint. So you paint the canvas, make something out of it. So the institution is not a failure. It's people who fail in that institution, And so people must give their best. The best marriage advice I would give anyone is, like we said at the beginning, would you marry you? Would you remain married to you? And so I asked myself, Ernest, think about the way you're behaving, the way you're thinking, the way you're responding. Would you remain married to someone like you? And if the answer is no, then I have to change. I have to do something to become better. I draw my inspiration from the scriptures. Love your wife as Christ loved the church. So Christ was selfless. And so for the men out there, be selfless as you love your women. Die. Let them win. Happy wife, happy life. Yeah.
Great. Wow. For me, I think I would mention a few things. One, an advice is really understanding what submission means in scripture. Many people, and a lot of it historically has been sold around slavery as opposed to helping and seeing that as a strength. So I would really just urge the ladies, I can't go into a lot of detail in that, but submission is one of the most powerful tools you can have in your marriage, giving it to your husband as just the leader in the home. And I would also say that as you continue to learn how to submit to your husband, because there are many times that you fail. I think that's why it's even a command, because sometimes you will fail at it, is surrounding yourself with godly women who you can talk to, other women who stand on the same values, believe in that. So there would be women who are your peers or being in a fellowship with them, and especially older women. I think there's very little people, I think, don't take advantage of the wisdom of people who've gone before us, and this is godly. Don't just get advice from older women. Get advice from godly women, people who understand that God's word is helpful to their lives, not to just frustrate their lives. I would also say in marriage also to give yourself grace. Yes. Take a day at a time. I don't think we're called to a perfect home. Also, so sometimes if you realize that things are not working or this didn't work out the way you expected it to work out, give yourself grace, laugh about it, and move on. I mean, in this recording, we thought Ivana would be still, but here she is in this position. So life is like that, sometimes just laugh about it. Laugh when, sometimes you make a dish that turned out differently. Laugh about it and just fix something else, So I would urge you to just take a day at a time. Forgive. Yeah. Forgive yourself and forgive your partner. It's the best freedom you can give yourself. And it will elicit a lot of bitterness and strife. If you can just get to the habit of forgiving easily and fast, you're on the way to a wonderful marriage. Because marriage really is about getting to understand self and somebody else and building something together. So the earlier you learn that gift, the better for you.
The fastest way to learn how to forgive is just to remember the gospel of Christ.
Yes.
Christ forgave his church and forgave us freely. And if you know you're forgiven much, you're more willing to forgive your spouse. Yeah, you don't have a high price for your forgiveness. Yeah. So, size 5? She's a size 5?
Yeah, that's right. 5 or 38.
Yeah. Oh, got it. Yeah, I wrote being late, but I agree with her. Now that I've seen that, like, yeah, I agree with her. Actually, I hate that.
Like
oh my goodness.
a pet peeve.
Being late is not really a character trait, is it?
Yeah.
But yeah, but she's right. I fail at my own question. Yeah, so I don't know. Going to France. Going to France. What do you have?
I think that would hit it, but I didn't think about it for a childhood. I think childhood I took it way back to
What's yours?
kindergarten, to eating Red Devil ice cream.
Oh, wow. All right.
So I think Hillsong.
Yeah, Hillsong United. That's true. I don't know.
Believe it or not.
Avocado. Yeah, but she's not a fan of avocado. Yeah. My love. I appreciate you. I love the way you take care of our home. You're a homemaker. You take care of our kids. They are ladylike. They are confident. You're a very good mother. You don't give up. You've put up with me, and you've really helped me be a better man. Turi, you love God, and because you love God, you also inspire me to really lead you with confidence. I like the fact that you're conscientious, you pay attention to detail, things don't slip into the cracks, and because of that there are many things in our home that have held together. I love the fact that you allow me to lead, and you allow me to lead graciously, and I'm looking forward to the next years of our lives together. I wouldn't have chosen anyone else. I'm glad I chose her.
So Ernest, I love you so much. I really thank you that you took a chance with me, because man always has choices, and you chose me, and every day I see you choosing me in the smallest decisions where you make time for me. I am so grateful, and I love you for being a wonderful, committed and faithful husband. You really bring out the best in me, and you're such a great dad. I really love that you lead us so powerfully. You really build me. A lot of my strengths and a lot of my strides, especially in career, have been through my husband. He really pushes me to be the best I can be. Even the ministry, sometimes when I started off, I would be shy, but you really built my confidence by encouraging me. You're an encourager. You pray over our family, and you're very funny. I think life can be so tough, and I love that you really make fun, and you always have a funny story about something, and it really keeps me going. And I'm so grateful that you are so broken before God, and it encourages me to also break down before Jesus and to be humble before him. And I just want to say that I love you in everything that you do. You put me and the family first, and I love that you love sacrificially, and I love that you're passionate, and I love that you have a heart for people, and I love the fact that you're always ready to learn. And I love you very much, and I can't wait for the rest of the 93 years we have left together. Yeah.
Thank you. Wow, she said so much. I should have added more. Thank you. But in short, marriage is powerful. Marriage is amazing. Pursue marriage with all your heart, but don't look to marriage to give you happiness and joy in this world. That can only come from God. So while marriage is a fantastic and a great thing, it cannot complete you. It cannot give you the happiness of this world. That can only come from something beyond marriage. So I would say Turi and I are happy with one another, but we are not the source of each other's happiness. We get our happiness from our Creator. Yeah.
I think my final words would just be thrive in the season you're in. If you're single today, thrive in it. Develop yourself as much as possible. If you're married, fight for your marriage. Thrive in it. Don't settle for the bare minimum. And what will help you fight in your marriages and your relationships is Christ, because only God changes people. So if there are places you need to change in yourself, some habits you need to break that are detrimental to your relationships with self, with others, with your spouse, take on that challenge and do it with God. Only God changes people, and He's the one that can help you fight and stick closer together. But fight for your marriages. It's never too late. Fight, reach out for help, reach out for people if you find that your marriage is struggling, and just try to see how you can just get the foundations right for those who are single and those who are married. Yeah.